Hey there, I'm Jessica. I have no idea why I'm actually doing this, but here I am doing this. So, I live in Manchester, New Hampshire, and I am out here near Lake Massabesic today. Sorry about the runny nose, but it's about 30 degrees, and I'm kind of new to this whole hiking thing in some ways. I've been doing outdoor stuff since I was a kid. My dad was a New York State police officer, and he was on the SWAT team that protected the 1980 Olympics in Lake Placid. And I'm pretty sure that's where he learned how to ski, cross country ski. And I was 2 years old when that whole thing happened. And I think pretty much the moment he came home, he got me on skis. So I had been doing skiing since I was a little kid, off and on. So my dad definitely instilled a love of the outdoors in me. So fast forward to a few years ago, I herniated a disc in my low back and I couldn't walk for 3 weeks. And that's the thing that I'm still working with, still managing. I'm a yoga teacher as my full-time job, and I own a studio here in southern New Hampshire. And we moved here about 8 years ago. It'll be 8 years, I think, this March. And I just love it here. Reminds me a lot of the area I grew up in, except for the city. The city is definitely a city. But southern New Hampshire definitely reminds me a lot of where I grew up. And, that disc herniation definitely scared me and was super painful and all that kind of stuff, and took a long time to heal, and it's definitely still a thing I manage on a regular basis. The surgeon I saw when it happened basically said to me, you shouldn't even be walking yet. It's probably what you do that's making it possible. So, yay, yoga. But I never thought backpacking would be a thing I could do. I had this image still in my head of these big, heavy frame packs with a ton of gear on them. In fact, I remember a time my dad took me out and we only went like 3 miles, and he ended up carrying all my stuff. And that was the image I had in my head of backpacking. And then last March, I got hit with the flu really bad, and I was laying on the couch for like a week and totally bored out of my mind. And somehow I ended up stumbling into YouTube videos. And people you probably know if you know anything about this stuff. So Dixie from Homemade Wanderlust, Darwin on the Trail, and I just couldn't believe how much the technology had changed. And talking about carrying backpacks on the Appalachian Trail that were less than 20 pounds. And I thought to myself, well, crap, I can carry 20 pounds, especially in a backpack. Right? So that really has inspired me and got me out hiking a lot more, and got me into backpacking a little bit last year. And it's only been in the last few years I've really just come to understand how much I need to be outside. And New Hampshire winters are tough. Got a pretty nice day today. It's about 30 degrees and there's no wind at all. But New Hampshire winters are long, they're cold. They typically have a fair amount of snow, but in the last few years, it would snow, and then by the time you had a chance to get out there, or at least I had a chance to get out there with work and everything. By the time I got out there, the snow was crap for skiing. It would get warm, it would rain, all that kind of stuff. So it was just awful. So I haven't been able to get a lot of skiing in, and quite frankly, the sliding, um, the possibility of falling for me is a big problem, because any sort of axial compression, so compression along the column of the spine, creates big issues for me. So, being able to just walk seemed like a really good idea. And I noticed last year, the more I walked, the better I felt. I love yoga, and it's a great thing for the mind and the body, but walking is just something that my body apparently needs. I did 100 miles last October in a fundraiser for Hike for Mental Health, and check them out. Use the Google people. Check them out if you haven't. Really great organization, I think. And by the end of the month, I didn't do 100 miles in like one trip or anything. It was just spaced out over the course of a month, and a lot of, 3 miles here and there around town. But by the time when that month was done, like, my back felt the best it has felt in ages. So walking is apparently a movement I need, and I just felt so good, and I hate being cold. I hate being cold, and so I've been really determined to try and keep myself going outside, even during the cold months here. So I do love that there's this kind of old New England saying that there's no bad weather, there's only bad clothing. And I am totally beginning to believe that, because I have been accumulating some better clothing, and I am sitting outside. It is 30 degrees, and I am not cold, which is pretty cool. So I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know if I'm ever going to upload this to YouTube or anything, but I thought, there's so many times I feel like in the world when we don't think our voice matters. We don't think that we have anything different to contribute. I mean, what the heck do I have to say? I'm walking around a city of 100,000 people on a trail that's like used by tons of people for walking and running and biking, and this is actually a snowmobile trail this time of year. So what the heck do I have to say? But maybe, like those guys did for me, it'll be interesting for somebody else to kind of see me put things together and figure it out along the way. So I don't intend to do anything super crazy with editing or anything like that, but I thought it might be interesting to see it from my perspective, I guess. So here I am outside. You probably keep hearing that beeping. That's my Apple Watch telling me, are you done with your walk? Do you want to end your workout? No, I don't. So I've been out here probably an hour and a half, actually. And the gear that you can probably see here, I've got a Chaukas hat. I believe that's how it's pronounced. Made in New Hampshire. Woohoo. I've got a little Columbia neck gaiter that is made to block the wind. And I've got a Patagonia Micro Puff hoodie on over an EMS fleece, an EMS turtleneck that is a combination of wool and synthetic, and I am toasty. I also have on a pair of LL Bean fleece pants. I don't have a base layer on today because it's actually too warm, and I know depending on where you might be watching this from, the idea of 30 degrees being too warm is kind of hilarious, but it's actually too warm for base layer that I have right now. But I do have this Ragged Mountain trucker skirt on over it. One of the things that I absolutely hate is having cold thighs. As a yoga teacher, I wear yoga pants a lot, and it seems like when I go out into the world in yoga pants, my thighs are always freezing. So I'm going to try to give you a shot of this setup here. I've also got Merrell boots and micro spikes. Oh my god, total game changer. So the skirt is pretty self-explanatory, but check this out. It has pockets, one on each side, which is pretty freaking amazing, which is the reason why I bought it. You can also kind of see the trail behind me here. Like I said, it's snowmobiles, multi-purpose, but there's really nice watershed area around here. And if I can turn around enough to show you, there is a beaver that lives here. And that's why I stopped here, because this is like one of my favorite spots. You also might be able to see over my shoulder back that way that there is a highway. So I don't have a pack on or anything like that. I do have a Cliff Bar just for the heck of it. But there are literally houses like, probably like a quarter of a mile from here. So it's not exactly deep in the wilderness or anything. So that's my story of the moment. Just thought I'd share with you and see what happens. So if you have any questions or anything like that, let me know. Hey, let me know you're out there. The hiking community has just been pretty amazing to me so far. So here we go. We'll see where this takes me. And we'll call that it for now. Have a great day. Bye.